Keisha, how are you?
How are you? I'm good.
この日、テレビ東京の単独インタビューに応じたのはアメリカのエマニュエル駐日大使です。2022年1月に大使として着任してから3年。この3年間の日米関係の歩みをどう評価するのか、間もなく離任するのを前に聞きました。
現状の日米同盟の状態についてはどういうふうに見ていらっしゃいますか。
In short, I think the U.S.-Japan alliance is better prepared today than it was 3 years ago to meet both the challenges and the opportunities in the Indo-Pacific. I think when you look at the security side, you look at the political, diplomatic side, you look at the economic, we have a united front between the United States, Japan, Korea, Philippines, India, Australia, New Zealand, and China realizes they're the odd country out. And that core foundational piece to that united front is the U.S.-Japan alliance. China has a strategy to constantly isolate country A and use all their political, economic, and security power to crush their sovereignty and independence. And the United States uses its strategy to flip the script on China and have them become the isolated party rather than country. And I think China is backing up because they have become, as I said, the outlier, the party out of sync with the region and the kind of spirit of the region right now. So the foundation's laid for the future, and the U.S.-Japan alliance is better prepared, but it has to keep the momentum, keep investing, keep making the right decisions. Japan's going to stay on track for their defense buildup. We're going to put in and start building a command and control center here. We got to continue to strengthen both the Quad, the trilaterals with Japan and the United States and Korea, Japan, the Philippines, and the United States. We got to continue to expand the operational capacities and development of the AUKUS. Each of these lead to a stronger united group of countries, and then China has to confront that unity, and that is usually where they decide, forget about it, that's not worth the pain anymore.
そのバイデン政権が特に注力してきたのが日本、アメリカ、韓国の3カ国による関係の強化です。2023年8月には日米韓の首脳による会談を初めてキャンプデービッドで開催。去年6月と11月には自衛隊と米韓両軍による新たな共同訓練も行い、ミサイルや海上防衛、サイバー攻撃などへの対応についても連携を強化していくとしています。
日米韓の枠組みについてもお伺いしたいんですが、関係を後戻りさせないためには何が必要でしょう。
So, just I think about 5 weeks ago, I was out in the city of Japan participating in or witnessing the Freedom Edge exercise. 2 weeks earlier than that, when North Korea launched one of their ICBMs, there was real time sharing between the three military and intelligence agencies, entities representing the United States, Japan, and Korea. So one level, the way to keep measuring the progress is the integration and cooperation and coordination between the three security and intelligence apparatuses of the three countries. When obviously there's a change in South Korea, there'll be a change in mid-January in the United States, there'll be an opportunity for kind of the foreign ministries, the defense ministries, the economic ministries to come together, and that's something that both the United States and the two countries, Japan and Korea, will either get initiated, and I believe they will be initiated because I think the incoming administration, the Trump administration, will see the value and the strategic value in the coordination.
この3年間でさらに強固になったという日米関係。その柱の一つが宇宙です。
エマニュエル大使は大変宇宙に対する関心が高くてですね、造詣も深いということなので、ぜひお伺いしたいんですが、この日米の宇宙での協力関係というのは安全保障の面、さらには宇宙開発の面、この2点でですね、どういうふうな進展があったと見ていらっしゃいますか。
Japan's going to be the principal country partner with the exploration of the moon and returning to the moon. The first foreign astronaut to go to the moon with the United States will be a Japanese astronaut. The vehicle that the astronauts will be driving around the moon will be made by Toyota, a Japanese company. And so the cooperation is at a gold standard. There was a Gateway Agreement signed, an Artemis Agreement signed, an International Space Station re-upping by both countries agreed to, the framework agreed to, and the Mars Agreement exploration. No other country has had that much in the last 3 years, or I would say the last decade, and that is a vote of confidence the United States has in Japan, and also Japan's vote of confidence in the United States in our exercise to return to the moon. I'll tell you a funny anecdote. For my kids, each of their birthday one year, when I was White House Chief of Staff, I gave them pictures of the galaxy from the Hubble space station, space probe, and each of the kids said, normally parents for their birthday give their kids clothes or something like that. Why do we have to have these framed photos of the Hubble of the galaxy? That's how intrigued I am by the exploration of science. So I torment my children. They still love me.
まあその宇宙からの視点みたいなその俯瞰する観点でですね、地球を見てそれぞれの国の政策というのを見ていくのもとても重要だと思うんですが、そういう宇宙からの視点で見たら今のアメリカっていうのはどういうふうに見えるでしょうね。
I'm not sure I need a space probe for that. So, like, I have like 20 things I would want to say about the United States right now. One, you look at the United States and how many times people thought, oh my God, it's over, forget about it, and yet its dynamism of its economy, the growth in its GDP compared to what's happening to other countries in the G7, if anything, the United States is somewhat a marvel. It's pretty clear now, after 5 years ago, 10 years ago, everybody said, oh, China's going to surpass the United States. It's almost impossible for them to do it. So there speaks of something. The second thing I would say is that usually our divisions in America are seen as, Democrat versus Republican, men versus women, college educated versus non-college educated, urban versus rural. I think the real divisions are between the elite versus the rest of America. And the elite have way too much power, and I say this as part of the elite, way too much concentration of power in America, way too much access to wealth, and the system is somewhat rigged, not somewhat, the system is rigged in favor of those of us and our children who are part of the well-connected. And I think that it's a horrendous moment, but it's a reflection. When you look at the cheering of the gentleman that killed the United Health CEO, it tells you about the anger of, and which does not justify it, the anger of the public towards the elite. And that to me is the real true division. It's the last 3 years being away from America, being here in Japan, I learned a lot about Japan. I learned a lot about America.
注目されるビジネス分野では日米の関係はどこへ向かうのか。今月3日、バイデン大統領は日本製鉄によるアメリカの US スチールの買収を安全保障上の理由で阻止すると発表しました。エマニュエル大使は US スチールの買収について